Well, welcome everyone to the latest edition of Your Money Path with Mike McGrath. I'm your host, Mike McGrath, where we help people make better decisions about their money. I've got a special guest today, a good friend of mine and a friend of our community, Bob Jensen. Before I get to him, though, real quickly, I asked Bob to come on just to kind of elaborate on the themes I've been talking about on the show, which is looking for the character traits and the attributes that I've found over 25 years of doing financial planning, of what makes people successful with that, with their funds, with their managing their debts, and those sorts of things. So in the past, we've talked about items like perseverance, patience, discipline, courage, and have had a lot of guests on to talk about that. And today's no different. Bob is a long-standing sort of stalwart of the community here, been involved in so many different things. It's special for me, too, because Bob and I served together on boards and commissions and stuff like that. So we have some joint history here as we've crossed paths with everything from soccer to school board. Today I wanted to have Bob come in and share with us sort of his story a little bit. And lead up to what you're doing today and what you're involved with today in the community, and talk about just kind of some of the decisions and the influences that you had from the past to today, and how you've kind of managed to build that into a career and into volunteer service and that sort of thing. So welcome to the show, Bob.
Thanks, Mike. It's good to be here.
So Bob and I we met back in 2005 when we both ran sort of against each other, I guess, the way the boards work, for the Newhall School Board. And that, if those aren't in this community, the way that vote works is just the top vote getters get the available seats. So Bob and I finished at the top, so we got to serve each other, or with each other. So it was kind of fun to then learn the ropes, if you will, of all the nuances of serving on a public school board. And there are many nuances for anyone who's ever been involved in that. But that's where we met, and then of course along the same years our kids played AYSO soccer. Bob's been, I don't know how many years you coached.
Close to a dozen.
Yeah, so your daughters kind of went through the ranks, and then even when you weren't coaching your daughters, you're refereeing a bunch of other games. So
yes.
We would talk at board meetings afterwards. It's 11 o'clock at night, and you're talking about the 7 hours you spent at the ball field last Saturday and that sort of thing. So Bob's been really kind of literally as well as figuratively got his hands dirty just working with the community. Bob's also a partner at King, Alleman & Jensen, a CPA firm. Bob and I have had many times to talk about professional things, as I'm a partner with EP Wealth Advisors. So very helpful in that regard as well. So with that kind of backdrop, I actually wanted to take us back even further before all of this began, not to sound like Steve Martin here, but to talk more about maybe a little bit how you grew up dealing or addressing or being introduced to, money matters, what influences as you grew up and then eventually went into college, kind of what shaped your thoughts, not just finances in terms of dollars and cents, but the values attached to them and kind of what's important.
Sure. Be happy to, Mike. It's great to be here again. Well, I grew up in the San Fernando Valley. My parents were hard workers. They're both retired now. They instilled in me a work ethic as well as in my sisters and brothers. My mother was adamant that we as kids be busy and active and doing productive things while my father was working.
Right.
So we had jobs during the summer. We actually at one time had some beehives and produced honey.
Purpose.
On purpose.
Okay.
It was a Boy Scout project. I was
Okay.
involved in the Boy Scouts.
Right.
I'm an Eagle Scout. And I had the beekeeping merit badge.
Nice.
And that led into us actually having some hives where we produced honey and sold the honey for a
Okay.
period of time. We did lawn mowing jobs, landscaping work. I worked for a plumbing contractor for several years who became a mentor to me and a good friend. But we always stayed busy, and my parents emphasized the importance of good financial standing. They emphasized the importance of service in the community, of giving back to others, donating where possible to help those in need, all sorts of things like that.
So if you go back to the beginning, a little bit of that, the idea of hard work and diligence, if I could put the word in there, put you in a strong enough financial position that you were going to be okay. Therefore, you could give back. Not always money, but money, time, energy, talent, that sort of thing, and that kind of came from a young age. So your
Correct.
family was involved, I assume, on some of these things together,
Right.
but it was an expectation individually as well. Is that right?
It was. And I know one of my jobs was selling newspaper subscriptions door to door.
Okay.
When I was in junior high school. And like I said, I had several landscape jobs, lawn mowing jobs, and did a lot of different things. And my parents emphasized the importance of saving money, but also of giving back to the community and making donations and being a good citizen. That was very important.
And imagine as you grew up through high school in the San Fernando Valley, college comes up. I'm guessing you were a good student?
I was a good student.
Okay.
I worked hard at it. I studied hard.
Okay.
I have a bachelor's and a master's degree in accounting.
From a very good school.
From a very good school.
That's why I was kind of tisk there.
I think it's a good school, but
yeah, right. But my
no.
point being is it translates not just into physical labor, but everything with schoolwork and everything else. So you go to college, and did that change there? Was it further those kind of attributes? Was it further developed there, that sense of discipline and giving back, or was that sort of a parenthetical part of it? Or?
No, it was still emphasized in college, and I would usually take the summers off and work. I would work in plumbing during the summers, and then I did some accounting work. Also, during the school year, I had a part-time job doing accounting work. And so I stayed busy with school and with work, working my way through school. And my parents taught me to be self-sufficient and to be self-reliant and to manage my own financial affairs and things of that nature. And that was a great experience.
So in growing up then, transition a little bit here into the giving part of it. And when I say giving, I don't always mean like writing checks, but just giving in general, being a generous person. How did you, what were some of the first experiences of that? Are we talking about just helping a kid out with his lunch money in school, or are you talking about what kind of things did you get involved in?
Well, it first started, I believe, when I was a Boy Scout and working on merit badges, interacting with other scouts, and some of the merit badges emphasized giving and helping others and service. So my mom was always good at finding others who were in need and having us do something at various times to help them, whatever it might be. And so then as I got into college, I actually interrupted my college for 2 years to do missionary work for my church, and I was sent to Southeast Asia over to Thailand.
Okay.
And I served there for 2 years and learned to speak the Thai language fluently, and actually went back and taught it for a year or so at
I didn't know that.
the college that I attended. But the cost of serving as a missionary is paid for by the family or by the individual, and I had decided before my mission that I wanted to pay for it myself. I wanted to have a challenge or a goal to see if I could work enough and work long enough to save money to pay for it myself. And I thought if I did, it might mean a little bit more to me, and I would be a little more serious about the endeavor. So I worked hard, mostly doing the plumbing work, and saved enough money to pay for the 2 years overseas in Thailand. And that was a great experience.
Because that's, for 2 years, I would imagine that bill gets fairly high, because that's living expenses for quite some time, right?
Yeah. We had a good exchange rate at the time, but it was still expensive. And but it was fun to see if I could work enough and pay for it myself, and I was able to accomplish that goal. So that was nice for me.
And I would imagine too, going back to kind of the broader theme you started with, is just the discipline to do that, as well as a willingness to give. I mean, you're stepping away from school, meaning you're delaying a career by doing this and going overseas. So that kind of fits into that broader theme, part of that lesson that you were learning over those years.
Certainly, and we did a lot of projects simply to help the people. We taught a lot of English classes in Thailand. The Thai people are very excited about education. They like to be educated, and they really enjoyed learning English. So we taught the classes for free. We would go to businesses or to schools and ask if they would like classes. I believe we had a 24-week lesson. We had prepared manuals for 24 weeks, 24 lessons. And so we would arrange free of charge to teach for 24 weeks a certain curriculum in English. And we had fun classes, great classes. It was high in demand and something that we really enjoyed doing. And it was totally a service project.
Okay. Well, it's interesting. You talk to folks today, and age is even not even a part of it. But I would say younger, but I would say middle age and everybody else. There's kind of that rat race mentality, right, where it's just get more and get more, get more. And it sounds like in your growing up, it was not get more, but get enough, if I can put it that way, and then give away. That's a different mentality, I think, than not everybody. I don't want to paint everyone with a broad brush, but I see that a lot in just in the investing world and finance world. So it's always it seems like sometimes it's a zero-sum game, and you're saying no, it can be a little bit more synergistic than that. And the joy is to give as much as it is to obtain. Right? You have the joy of obtaining that goal of paying for the trip, but equally enjoyed giving of your time and your abilities to those that were there in Thailand. So
yeah, I really did. And it's interesting in today's society. And of course, I was a missionary a long time ago, but our world's pretty complex, and there's a lot of sophistication with technology and things of that nature, and there's a lot of good with that, but there's a lot of challenges with it too. And that kind of leads into some things that I have my mind set on to accomplish the next 4 years on the Hart School Board with mental and emotional development of students and curriculum that we teach in that area. But we can talk about that later on in the show.
Sure. Well, and let me wrap the past up before we get to that real quick. And then I was going to say, as you're going through college, growing up like you did, going through college and in the mission field, what was maybe one of the biggest challenges you faced in trying to live out those ideals that you'd been taught?
I think it was being away from home, actually.
So you're 18, 19 years old when you do this?
Yeah, I was 19 and 20 when I did that. So I went to a year of college, then I was in Thailand for 2 years, then I was back in school getting my bachelor's and master's. And I think it was a challenge for me to be away from home, at least for the first period of time. I adjusted after a few months or several months, but I think that's an adjustment for a lot of kids, no matter what age or what decade or environment they're in. It was a good experience, and learning to be independent and to make your own decisions and things of that nature.
Was grow up quick time.
Yeah. It was a challenge, but it was a real good experience.
Okay. So, and conversely, what is maybe, and it doesn't have to be one, but maybe one major takeaway you took from those years in mission and finishing that school? It requires a lot of discipline to stick through that all the way through, year by year. What's maybe one thing you took away that you can still use today?
Well, I think mental and emotional development and strengthening was good for me and positive for me then. I had played a lot of sports in high school and growing up, and in college I was focusing on academics, and I tried to apply a lot of things that I learned from athletics to the academics and to my experience in Thailand as a missionary. And I think we're always trying to improve during life and strengthen ourselves mentally and emotionally. And so I had some experiences there that helped me strengthen myself mentally and emotionally. And I think things like that, as you look back, you go, hey, those were good experiences and those were beneficial for me. And I want to really rely on those experiences to help others, especially our junior high and high school students, prepare for the future.
Well, and we started that journey before you got to junior high and high schoolers, right, with the elementary school.
Right.
So for those listening who are not from the Santa Clarita area, we do have 3 K-6 districts and then one high school district, which would cover all the junior highs and high schools. So when we worked together on the school board, which I think, correct me if I'm wrong, it was your first publicly elected sort of position.
That's correct. It was, yes.
And so we're working with the K-6, and the biggest challenge in my recollection was not anything pre-thought out, but that was when we were starting to see the economy kind of hit the top, if you will, and then roll right over into what became the Great Recession.
Right.
So it served 2005 to 2009. And these conversations of how are we going to prepare ourselves financially for what seems to be coming, as if we knew, but we just saw this on the writing on the wall. And I would say you were very helpful, obviously, with your accounting background.
Yeah.
Those budgets are complex and different than a normal sort of corporate budget. So, but I would say the strength of character in that even when along that way, we had to make some difficult decisions, not ones we even wanted to make, whether it be cuts or freezes and that sort of thing, which turned out to be very beneficial when the well ran dry, so to speak, as far as public funding. But in those moments, and you're getting yelled at and people accuse you of all kinds of things, and just level, calm, never lost your temper. I'm about ready to just go throw down with somebody, but you were sitting there just the calm one, which I really appreciated because I think it helped the rest of the group there. But So you take that. We served one term. I like to say, as my wife and I say, I was a smart one and got out of it. But no, I went back into more focusing on professional matters. You joined and moved on to as I would say, the district, right? The Hart School District. So how many now, because it's grown since you started, how many schools are under that umbrella at this point?
We have 6 comprehensive high schools, about 23,000 students.
Wow.
Then we have Bowman Continuation School,
right.
which is the model continuation school in the state of California. It's an outstanding school. It's terrific, yes. A lot of great things are done there. We have Academy of the Canyons.
Right.
Which is
so that's under the Hart Board.
That's under the Hart Board over on the COC campus. That's a great school. And then we have some alignments with charter schools, OFL, Opportunities for Learning, Mission View. We have Golden Oak Adult School. We have...
well, there's soon to be new ones, right?
Castaic High School is opening up in August of 2019, and it will happen at that point in time.
Yeah.
And that will be a model, state-of-the-art, continuing technical education school.
Does that mean it's like a magnet in a sense, or I'm trying to translate this a little bit? But
you might consider kind of like a magnet, like LAUSD has magnets,
right?
And we'll have some relationships with College of the Canyons.
Okay.
But it will really emphasize career education and career technical education, as we also call it, and really have state-of-the-art facilities. And it'll be a great school for all kids that go there, whether you're career tech ed oriented or not.
Okay. So your involvement then, when did you first go onto the Hart School Board, your first election?
Well, as you mentioned, you and I ran in 2005 for a seat on the New Hall Board and got elected and served for 4 years. And then, and I just wanted to add, I really enjoyed that time. Mark Winger was our superintendent. He's retired now. Mark served for many, many years as superintendent. He had a lot of vision. He was very strong fiscally. He worked very hard, and I learned a lot from working with Mark.
Likewise.
And it was a great experience.
I think Mark made the board look better than we were. That's how I always say it.
We had a good time on the board. So then as 2009 rolled around, as my kids were getting older, I thought, well, they're moving on to the high school district, junior high and high school, and I thought, why don't I seek an opportunity to run for the high school board? So I ran in 2009 for a seat on the Hart School Board, was elected, and then re-elected again in 2013.
Okay. And then, so here we are. So this would be term number 3 that we're running for at this point. And so in that period of time, then why I asked is, there's been a lot of growth and development within the district. Maybe if you want to take a minute to speak to that, and then I'd like to turn to maybe the future and what you'd like to do going forward. But going back to that 2009 to 2013, or actually, 2017 window, or 18 window, what are some of the things that you've learned in that process?
Sure.
Maybe some of the things that you particularly would point out and just as accomplishments.
Well, we started with Canyon and Hart in the Valley a long time ago. Then Saugus came on board in the late 1970s, the mid-1990s, Valencia High School, and then in the first decade of the 2000s, Golden Valley and West Ranch. So we have the 6 high schools. There's some things that I'm very proud of that we've accomplished in the last 9 years. Fairly recently, all 6 of our comprehensive high schools were ranked in the top 10% of high schools nationwide.
Wow.
Mike, we are the top high school district in the state of California.
That's fantastic.
And to have all 6 of your comprehensive high schools ranked in the top 10% nationwide, I'm not sure any other schools of our size, high school districts, can say that in California. Now, the other thing is we've made a big emphasis on career tech ed and career education over the last several years.
What do you mean by that? Like programming and that sort of thing, or?
There's a lot of different things. We have 28 career pathways. Oh, wow. Okay. Cosmetology, building construction, engineering. We have a lot of different things, and we'll add more pathways, but manufacturing is another one.
Okay.
So students that may not go to college have pathway and career opportunities they can establish in high school and get a certificate and be well on their way to a high-pay, well-earning job that provides a nice living.
Which was kind of a
great
hole
career
before
for them.
that, right?
It was, and we've emphasized that. We've brought in Dr. Mary Ann Doyle to be the director of this area. She's done a very nice job. We've put a lot of effort into it, and it's paying off. We'll continue to push this area. Maybe we'll get up to 32 career pathways. Maybe we'll go down back to 30. Maybe it goes up to 34.
Right.
With the economy, as the economy ebbs and flows, there's a big job shortage, a labor shortage in our marketplace all over the place, not just here in Southern California. So we want to be able to cater to that. We want to look for where the needs are and educate our students in those areas, or make that education available.
Right, make it available. Well, I tell you, the one thing I'd add to my list of perseverance and patience and whatnot is passion, because that's what I'm hearing here. But I'd say we're going to take a quick break, though, and then we'll pick up where we left off. So thanks for sharing that, Bob. And
you're welcome.
You're listening to Your Money Path with Mike McGrath on KHTS 98.1.
Why do people from all over Santa Clarita come to our spa in Canyon Country? Simple. They want the highest quality services at prices that everyone can afford. This is Rosemary from Beyond Harmony Med Spa. Read our reviews and know why we won the Ultimate Beauty Awards 2 years in a row by the readers of Elite magazine. Come and see how close we really are and experience the level of excellence that our clients have loved for the past 13 years. Go to beyondharmony.com or call 298-8008 today for a free consultation.
Your building sign is essential in getting customers to your location. Feathers can help get your business noticed. They walk you through each phase of your building sign project, providing special attention to detail and quality. Feathers will give you a sign you can be proud of. Your building sign will draw customers in instead of having them drive by. Feathers on Soledad in Canyon Country, across from the Edwards Theater. Or go to feathersphoto.com. That's feathersphoto.com.
It's time for your special event. Kelly's Wedding Garden is your perfect spot. Kelly's has transformed weddings, anniversaries, company parties in the Santa Clarita Valley for decades. They have it all. Delicious food, a beautiful setting, plenty of room, and a team of professionals that can handle it all. Kelly's Wedding Garden, just off the golf course in Friendly Valley. Weddings, bridal showers, bar mitzvahs, company parties, anniversaries, class reunions. Kelly's Wedding Garden is your Santa Clarita oasis for outstanding, memorable events. Discover how you can transform your event at kellysweddinggarden.com. That's kellysweddinggarden.com.
Do you ever wonder, am I on the right path? Is my money working hard enough for me? I'm Mike McGrath, host of Your Money Path on the fourth Wednesday of every month at noon here on KHTS. I'm a certified financial planner and partner at EP Wealth Advisors, a fee-only wealth management firm here in Valencia. To find out how you can get on the right path, visit me, Mike McGrath, today at epwealth.com/Valencia.
I've always been driven to serve our country and our community.
Congressman Steve Knight.
I served in the United States Army and spent 18 years as an officer with the Los Angeles Police Department. I ran for Congress because too often I saw people forgotten by Washington. The crisis at the VA exemplified a bureaucracy that was out of touch and hurting real people. As your congressman, I'm committed to making our government in Washington work better for you.
My name is David Brayton. I am an Air Force veteran. 10 years ago, my doctors told me that I had to have a double lung transplant. It was a massive uphill battle to get the VA to do what they said they were going to do in the first place. Finally, Steve Knight got involved, and if it wasn't for Steve Knight's assistance in this thing, I guarantee you I'd be dead. Steve Knight is a veteran, and he's LAPD on top of it. I'm voting for Steve Knight because he gets stuff done for us.
I'm Steve Knight, and I approve this message.
Your hometown station, KHTS.
Well, welcome back, everyone, to Your Money Path with Mike McGrath on KHTS 98.1. I'm your host, Mike McGrath, and I'm here with my guest today, Bob Jensen. As a local partner of a CPA firm, as well as a current and soon-to-be, dare I say, continuing member of the Hart School Board. And so as we wrapped up, before we went to break, we were just talking about some of the really good things happening within the school district, a lot of which had developed during the time that you've been there to this point. And it struck me as thinking of not just the school district, but the Santa Clarita Valley as a whole. And Santa Clarita generally has been known for good schools for a long, long time. But I think it's also known for a lot of volunteer work, right? I think of the Boys and Girls Club. I think of the Child and Family Development Center. I think of the several YMCA branches. I think there's you could go on and on. Not to mention how well run the city is with budget surpluses and always being fiscally sound. And so, and right now, as you know, we're the third largest population-wise
That's correct. Yep.
community in LA County. Of course, LA being number one by a long shot, but then Long Beach and then us. So a lot of folks move here, and I think a lot of them do move here for those reasons. I mean, you and I both have been through the community, whether it's soccer fields or Little League ballparks, or a lot of people come here because they know those schools are going to give their kids a leg up. So I think there's a nice culture within the Santa Clarita, and I would add in my little world, sitting across coffee tables from people, across kitchen tables with people talking about their finances, and you don't get into so much the, well, should I buy this product or that kind of thing. But before all that happens is the why. Why do you want to invest in this way? Why do you want to save in this way? Why is it that what you want to do? And I think a lot of times in Santa Clarita, not that it's not this way somewhere else, but is people want to find a way to give back. And again, it's not always writing a check like Bill Gates. It's more, I want to be a volunteer baseball coach or Eagle Scout master. I know when my son coming up, right, it was past your time because he's only 21 now, but he joined the Boy Scouts in high school.
Brody?
Yes. So
okay.
Brody says, Dad, I think you should get involved. Now, I couldn't tie a rope or a knot to save my soul, but I think, what the heck, let's just do it, right? So I'm out there camping. I have no idea what I'm doing, but you saw the other dads out there that were like me. They don't know what they're doing either. So thankfully we had a scoutmaster that actually knew how to do all that stuff, and so we kind of get trained right alongside him. But the point is, I think that when I talk about EP Wealth Advisors, we talk about planning, we talk about looking ahead as well as living for now. It really gets down to, first and foremost, as a foundation, the why question. So you answered that question a long time ago. Growing up, first of all, but in college years and the years in the mission field, I want to be someone who is financially sound enough that I can afford the time, I can afford to write whatever checks I'm able to write, because I want to give back. Now, that's led, in your case, to the Newhall Board, then now the Hart Board. And so what happens out of that is the satisfaction, not that, again, Bill Gates is not here, but it's the idea that, hey, I have the ability now, the freedom now to give up some of this time and give to this. So looking ahead now, finally the payoff question. You're running again for re-election. That's a third term. So one might say you're a glutton for punishment, and the other would say, all power to you. And I think I'm in the latter part of it.
Okay.
Meaning that we've had a lot of good things happen. You just started talking about it. And all the great things. So it might be helpful for listeners, especially Santa Clarita listeners, to hear a little bit more about how those vocational programs, that's what I would call them, but the technology, how that developed and where it's going, and then more broadly, the next 4 years, come January,
Sure.
assuming election goes your way here, what's next? What do you see happening? What do you want to get accomplished?
Well, the career pathways, as we call them, have been developed over time. And we've looked at marketplaces, we've looked at the community, we've looked at Southern California, we've looked economically at where jobs are and what's available and what's in need,
right,
and what we can do and what we can teach. And that's very important for us to do that, because we don't want to teach a course that a student can't work in or make
right.
money at or have a living provided for them and their family. So this is why it's a dynamic situation that we'll continue to look at and change with the marketplace. So it's a little bit different than teaching English or math, which, while we have had some changes in our math content and teaching, there's some things that don't change that much academically. But this area is very dynamic, and that's why we need to continue to make it a priority, so that as the economy changes, we can change with it. Because we're really...
So you have to be really nimble here.
Yeah, that's a good word to use. Kind of like an amoeba, moving back and
right.
forth. And so it's an important thing, because we're trying to educate our kids for the future. I mean, let's face it, the students are the future, whether it's economically, politically, whatever it is, socially. The students are the future. They're the future of our country and our city, and we have a great culture here in Santa Clarita. I've lived here for 27 years, and we moved here because of the schools. We have a very unique culture for a large city that's the third largest city in L.A. County. L.A. County is probably bigger than 40 states in the union, I would guess. I mean, we got about 12 million people. So we have a unique culture here that I think is important to keep and to maintain. And as we have advanced these newer schools, I shouldn't say advanced, but as they've developed within the school district so that we have all 6 schools that are ranked in the top 10% of the country.
Right.
I think that's just incredible. So we'll continue to work the career tech ed, the career pathways, be nimble with it, Mike, as you said. And, you know, we want to, our English scores, our math scores are just greatly above the county and the state of California.
That's encouraging.
We have a host of AP classes, honors classes and AP classes, and students, I keep saying kids, students who want to go to college and want to excel in college. This is the best high school district in the state of California for that.
And you can say kids. I call college kids, so that's okay.
Mike, I'm very proud that we've been very well-rounded in the school district, and we have outstanding education for those that may not go to college and for those
who do
go to college.
Right.
So we are very fiscally strong. I'm very proud of that. We take good care of our finances. We safeguard taxpayer dollars. That's extremely important. I am very big on mental and emotional education.
What do you mean by that, the mental, emotional?
I'm concerned about anxiety and depression and things of that nature, and a lot of that is triggered by this, the handheld device. So our brains are wired to interact and have communication orally and in front of people and with people and eye to eye.
Yeah.
Like we're exchanging ideas and thoughts here. And when students do less and less of that, I've studied this very thoroughly for a couple of years, they become more susceptible to anxiety and to depression because they're not interacting, they're not communicating as much. And so we need to teach coping skills, we need to teach education and curriculum about mental and emotional things, mental and emotional education.
Okay.
It's kind of like you hurt your knee, you know your knee's hurt, you go see a doctor. How do you know if you're struggling mentally and emotionally?
Right.
And what do you do if you are? And we have to get rid of the stigmas in society. There's a lot of stigmas associated with mental and emotional illness and even awareness and even education and being able to talk openly about it, and for students to not feel bad about themselves if they feel they're struggling, if they need help.
Okay.
If you need the help, you have to get it. You have to talk about it. And we have great counselors in the district, very good counselors.
But that's still, I mean, that infrastructure in place aside, they are tasked with something that's kind of hard, I would imagine, so tell me if I'm wrong here, but hard to define, because if not everyone's coming forward saying, I've got this issue or I struggle with that issue, how do you know?
Right.
Unless you see some outcropping of behavior that might indicate it, but then you're trying to catch up to it, right?
I'd like to say that it's an issue that's both complex and complicated, and you know that those two words mean two different things.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, there's a lot of things we do in the district that are very, very good, and we're doing a lot of things for the students to help them mentally and emotionally. Chris Varner at West Ranch High School incorporates these things in his psychology classes. Jason Dotremont at Hart High School.
Coping mechanisms, that kind of thing? Or give me an example.
Exactly. Coping mechanisms and understanding of what it means to have mental and emotional feelings that might be on the unhealthy side.
Okay.
Jason Dotremont at Hart High School has been doing some things there. And we've got other teachers and other people at other schools doing it too.
Right.
Those are just a couple of examples. So we have a lot of good things going, but what I want to do is to bring it more together as a district. I want the schools to share amongst themselves. I want to have maybe more policy or more understanding as a district as a whole.
Right.
My goal, Mike, my ultimate goal, and this is not a joke. This is something I'm very passionate and serious about. I want our district to be the model school district in the state of California for mental and emotional health, just like Bowman is the model continuation school.
Right.
If we band together, we can do it. And I want to do it to benefit the students of Santa Clarita and their families. I want to do it to benefit our employees. Our employees, we're the largest employer in Santa Clarita. Our employees may need some mental and emotional coaching and help as well. We need to provide that to them. That's an obligation we have, I feel.
Yeah.
Also, if we're a model or the model district for the state of California, then we can lead other districts in the state, which is only going to benefit other students in the state.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
I've been studying this area a lot. I've talked to a lot of people. I have a lot of strong feelings about it, and it's something that I'm very excited about really pushing.
So as part of that, like I would imagine, let's say at Valencia High School, they have an infrastructure in place with their counseling staff and so on to identify, address issues. West Ranch High School, Hart High School, they all have their own. What you're saying is, that's great, but I want a district-wide infrastructure where not only do you have your campus-specific staff and processes, but we have something that's across the board. We share that information, that sort of thing. Is that what you were getting at?
Yeah, and we do have a lot of that.
Okay.
We do have, it's kind of like this. We do a lot of it, and what we do a good job at. And we do have, at the district office, infrastructure and coordination and interaction that we know at the district office occurs between the schools. But where I'm coming from is it's an area that just needs more exploring.
Okay.
Because so few people have explored it and so few people understand it, because it's complex and because it's complicated and because, you know, it hasn't been a hardcore curriculum topic like math or English or history.
Right.
I think there's opportunities there for us to really develop something that can really make a difference. Mm-hmm. And I really want to explore what those things are that we can do. And I think one of them is more curriculum and more teaching of coping skills and a better understanding amongst all of us, board members, the district office, faculty.
Right. Everyone's looking at the same page, if you will.
Certificated and non-certificated employees about what this all means and where we can go with it and how we can develop it.
Sure.
And I'm a CPA. If I had to do it all over again, I think I'd be a psychologist. I'm
really
fascinated by how the mind works. I think it's the most important thing out there, how we manage our mental and emotional wealth or health. And call it wealth too, because I think if you're happy and you're healthy mentally, emotionally, you're a wealthy person.
Yeah, you know, it's funny you say that because a lot of times, like I said earlier, we're talking about the whys, why we do things or something. You know, the tendency is to make that a rational, like intellectual conversation, when the reality it's very emotional. Like we have a rocky market as we sit here and talk today, and I get, you know, phone calls from people, whether the clients or just friends. What do I do? It's a very emotional response. And so you're trying to coach the emotion, coach, you know, part of that almost, if I dare I say, irrational, not that they're stupid or something, but irrational because you're not thinking about that rationally. And I think if you said, I can give you the best math program in the world, but I've got this huge anxiety disorder and I can't focus, I'm just randomly making that example, but then it's not that helpful, even though it may be the best math program in the world. So, you know, I have a family who works in the school psychology world, and they're not in this area, and they would tell you, I mean, from very serious issues like suicides and those kinds of things, to just, you know, run of the mill, just they can't focus because of anxiety or depression and those kinds of things. It's more prevalent than I think most are either aware or at least willing to admit, maybe, perhaps. So it's encouraging to hear you say this, being the, you know, sort of the top of the school district and the leadership level of the school district. So I appreciate you sharing that. And so I would say, would you say that is the probably the biggest challenge then to the district going forward at this point in your mind, or would it be something? Would you put something in its place?
There's other things I would like to accomplish too in the next 4 years.
Okay.
One is I'd like to revisit our mission statement and revisit our strategic plan. I think they were last revisited in the Hart District in a very thorough manner while we were on the Newhall School Board.
Oh, that's a while ago.
And I think we do have a good mission statement and good strategic plan because we have vision and we're looking for the future, and we have been for a while. But I think we need to go back to what we have on paper with our mission statement and our strategic plan. Make sure now that it aligns with what we think is going to happen 5, 10, 15 years from now. We're going to have the Newhall Ranch project. We'll have development on the east side of the valley. And we have agreements in place. We have land that we hold. We're ready for that. But I want to get down in paper any changes that we need to make to our mission statement and strategic plan, given where we are, given where we anticipate the future. Another thing, too, is I would like to hold public budget workshops for the public. Now, we have public hearings when we inaugurate the budget or finalize the budget, and the public is able to have input. But I'd like to have, separate from a board meeting, public budget workshops periodically where the public can be invited to understand more about school district finances.
Okay.
Our budget, we have the biggest budget in the valley, a general fund budget of about $250 million.
Wow.
But our overall budget, including bond money and non-general fund like deferred maintenance items, overall we're closer to $500 million, $500 million.
Wow.
So it's a big budget. We do a good job with it. We work hard at it. But I think having budget workshops for the public to attend where they have a better understanding of school district finances is a key thing.
Okay. Well, we're all glad you're here and that you're mentioning this. And so when we're going to pay a couple bills here, but then when we get back, I want to wrap up with a couple just fun questions for you, but I also want to give you the chance to let everyone know how they can reach you. We've got the election November 6th. So we have some time if people want to ask you about certain things and that kind of thing. But right now you're listening to Your Money Path with Mike McGrath. I'm your host, Mike McGrath, on KHTS FM 98.1.
The best live theater can be found right here in the Santa Clarita Valley. The Canyon Theater Guild has been entertaining audiences for decades with top-quality musicals and plays. Located on Main Street in Old Town Newhall, CTG also offers workshops for the young actor in your family. For more information, call the box office at 799-2702 or go online to canyontheater.org.
The Santa Clarita Artists Association has a new gallery in downtown Newhall on 6th Street between Main and Railroad, right across from the Canyon Theater Guild. The gallery features our members' paintings, sculptures, and one-of-a-kind handcrafted gift items. Whether you're an art lover, buyer, or an artist wishing to join, visit our website at santaclaritaartist.org, come to our free monthly meetings at Barnes & Noble, or stop by the gallery. For upcoming events and exhibits, check us out at santaclaritaartist.org. We make visual art visible.
Who says fun is just for weekends? Come live it every day at Skyline, a new kind of master planned community with indoor and outdoor lifestyle amenities perched in the beautiful hills of Santa Clarita, with nearly 1,600 acres of open space, also known as your new backyard. Prices start in the mid-500s. Come for our grand opening event November 3rd with live performances, food trucks, craft beer, and model tours. RSVP at lifeatskyline.com. Join us November 3rd and get a taste of life wide open.
Men, are you feeling tired, stressed, or just don't have the energy you used to? Did you know this could be related to decreased testosterone levels? Luckily, there's a safe, effective solution. Weeder Prime helps support healthy testosterone levels with clinically tested key ingredients. Just 2 capsules of Weeder Prime each day can help change your mood, energy, focus, body fat, and lean muscle. Feel the way you felt 10, 20, even 30 years ago. Rediscover your Prime with Weeder Prime. To find a retailer near you, visit WeederPrime.com. That's WEIDER Prime.com.
Hey there, I'm Tori with your hometown station weather. Sunny and very warm the next couple of days. We're looking at highs in the upper 80s, low 90s. Clear in the overnight with lows in the upper 50s. More the same for the weekend. For anything and everything SCV related, go to hometownstation.com. Learn the latest on what's going on in the Santa Clarita Valley. Find us on Facebook at KHTS Radio.
Your hometown station.
KHTS. your hometown station.
Well, welcome back, everyone. This is Mike McGrath with your Money Path with Mike McGrath. Just wrapping up and concluding a great interview, Bob, with Bob Jensen here. I really appreciate you coming. I had a question I like to ask a lot of my guests, and it's a little bit of a dangerous question. So I've learned somehow to rephrase it. Now, the very first interview I did, and you know him, was my father. And the question was, hey, name one financial decision that you wish you could have gotten back. So it's kind of an odd question to ask your own father anyway. So my dad, my dad's Irish sense of humor. So with a wink and a sort of smile, he said, oh, that's easy, paying for your college. So I'm like, great, thanks, Dad. So, and he just laughed. So yeah. It is a bit of a dangerous question. But so I've learned to rephrase it a little bit, and I thought it might be fun just to wrap this up, because I want at the end to have people know how to get a hold of you to kind of further discuss these items or ask questions of you. But if you had some Hart District students sitting in the studio with us today, looking at your own background, how you grew up, as you described earlier, just working hard and being entrepreneurial, like with the beehives, going overseas to serve others, going straight through, getting a master's degree, bachelor's and master's degree in accounting, becoming a part, all of that stuff that you have accomplished. If you could do it all over, and they're sitting here at this table with us, what would you tell them that may be something you learned that you would want to pass on?
I think a key thing in this day and age is as thorough an understanding as you can get on foreign and global matters related to cultures of different countries, and from a financial perspective on the economies, the jobs, and how foreign countries, global businesses work from an economic standpoint.
Okay.
Now, I was in Thailand for 2 years, and I had a great experience understanding the culture and the language, and I think we're in the district here to serve all students.
Right.
All students. And I'm very bullish on that. We need to serve all students no matter what their backgrounds. And I think understanding different cultures helps you to serve people better, whether it's me serving students or a student that goes through the district and becomes an adult and has a family, him or her being able to help serve people in the community. When you understand cultures from different countries,
right,
I think that's a great thing, and it really rounds you out. But tied into the financial side of things, because, look, we all have to monitor our finances. That's just something that's part of life. And the better you can monitor your finances, the more it frees you up, as Mike, you've talked about, to do other things, to serve others. So in this day and age, we're such a global economy, and so much of our state and our country is tied into foreign markets and global activities, that I really think it's important for students to understand how foreign markets work and what happens financially in foreign countries,
right,
for their own investment purposes, and to help them get a better grasp on politics, on social matters, and all sorts of different things.
Right. So in a sense, and I'm oversimplifying it when I say this, but it's really expand your horizons, literally, figuratively, but because the better we understand each other, the less that, or the more, I should say, that we could have an impact.
I think you're exactly right.
Yeah. I mean, we were talking off air about just, the season that we're in here in October of 2018, midterm elections, and it's not just I have better ideas than my opponent. It commonly gets down to that person's evil because they disagree with me. And so this, to me, is sort of like turning that backwards and saying, yeah, we can talk about ideas and we may agree or disagree, but understanding where someone's coming from is literally and figuratively worth its weight in gold.
Yeah, it truly is.
So in all of these things, and I'm sure you do have opportunity to interact direct with a lot of students. I see you still at the Hart football games, sometimes on the sidelines. So,
yeah, I've been to several Hart games, several West Ranch games. I've actually seen other schools in our district play as well. I like seeing all the schools play. And
yeah, I've always said if you ever want to, sort of the sideline pass, I know a guy, so I can go to Bob, right?
I think I've been to 3 West Ranch freshman football games this
fun.
year. Yeah, which has been great.
So but as just in your role and the position that you're in, not the person we've talked about today, but the position of leadership as a board member and running for re-election, I think it's important people know how to get a hold of you if they have a concern or just to talk through some of the issues they may have heard us talk about today. What's a good way for someone to reach you?
Absolutely. The best way is to go on to the Hart District website.
Okay.
And on the website is my name, my email address, and my direct phone number at my office. It rings directly at my desk. And I enjoy talking to constituents, enjoy talking to people from the public from Santa Clarita. And please feel welcome to email me or give me a call.
Okay.
If you would like to discuss anything, I'd be happy to help you out in any way I can.
Well, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate you sharing today, Bob. This was great. And I think it's our community should be grateful for your leadership, past and present, and hopefully, knock on wood, future. And I would say, too, that for those who want to get a hold of me, you can get a hold of me at www.epwealth.com/Valencia or at facebook.com/epwealth. And again, the idea of the show, as Bob has done a great job facilitating, is really to get into those sort of habits, those character traits that help us be successful. And even when I say that, there's an author I've read named Tim Maurer, and his comment was, we talk about wealth management. He said the word wealth in his mind, as he advises clients, equals enough. It doesn't necessarily mean more. It means enough so that I can do what it is that's important to me, raising your girls, raising other kids in a sense through the work that you do through the district, through the coaching, and through everything else. So that's a good example, and it's something that we're about at EP Wealth Advisors. So those are a couple of ways to get a hold of me as well. So the best of luck to you. So if those of you who are listening, Santa Clara residents, definitely get out there and vote. Tuesday, November 6th. Bob Jensen, thanks for joining us. So,
Mike, thanks for having me. Go out and watch a football game. I was at the West Ranch Hart game and did the principal's handshake.
Oh, nice.
Last week, and like I said, I've been to West Ranch games and done a coin toss, and been to Hart games and done a coin toss. So it's been great to get out and watch the sports. And good luck to all the football teams and our volleyball teams and all our other athletic and band and choir programs.
Well, good. And thank you for listening. You're listening to Your Money Path with Mike McGrath, KHTS 98.1.
Do you ever listen, but you're not really paying attention? Sort of like what you're doing to me right now. This is Alex Urbina, your advanced life coach specialist. One of the most frequent questions I hear is, what is a life coach? Well, tune in every Friday at noon to learn the value of having a coach and listen to a live coaching session on the radio. Right here on your hometown station, KHTS.
Men, are you feeling tired, stressed, or just don't have the energy you used to? Did you know this could be related to decreased testosterone levels? Luckily, there's a safe, effective solution. Weeder Prime helps support healthy testosterone levels with clinically tested key ingredients. Just 2 capsules of Weeder Prime each day can help change your mood, energy, focus, body fat, and lean muscle.